has been the perfect parent to her kids, Eric and Shalonda. She says she feeds them only healthy food. She tries to get them to go outside and exercise, but she says still her kids are tipping the scale. She says they're both close to 200 pounds on either end of that 200 because she says they are making midnight raids on their refrigerator. Now, before we get to your story here over a second, because I want to see if the kids are really all that responsible, Bob. We're going to talk to you just a second. I want to get back to Vicki and Nicole over here. I tell you, Nicole, you have shocked many of us. You're sitting there like the all-American girl, and you've been through the mountains. The gang activity that you were involved in, as you told me during the break, it wasn't you who scratched the gang emblem in Mom's car, and it wasn't you who was doing some of those things. But you know, a lot of times that we learn in teenagers is you're just as guilty as your association. You know, that old thing, I show you your friends, I'll show you your future. What would you say to Tiffany? Why is it, you think, that young girls like you and like Tiffany get involved in gang situations when y'all know that's not what you're supposed to be doing?
I think it's a lot of immaturity. When I was in 6th grade, 5th and 6th grade, I tried to grow up too fast. She was, I had her, my dad was never around, so she would want to go out and she would bring me with her, so I think that's where I got a lot of my ideas growing up, you know, a little too fast. And then hanging around gangs, I'm not too sure how I got involved with them, but then I started dressing like them, and I think for a white girl to try to be to look like a Mexican girl.
You were trying to be Mexican too.
No, not like her. No, not like her.
But you were trying to get. But you were trying to.
The makeup, the dress.
But you were influenced by you were influenced, like as most kids. You were influenced. You started dressing whatever your influence was, acting whatever your influence was. Vicki, how did that influence happen?
I don't know what the influence she's talking about with that. Mostly, she's got a thing against all white boys.
She would only date Mexican.
Only dates Mexican boys.
That is not. I've just never met an attractive white guy.
Well, there's.
I mean, I would.
There's one white boy back there. Give me a chance. But Vicki, let me hear what you're saying, because you know a lot of people would say there's nothing wrong with that. I mean, you know, that a lot of people are open enough to say that the kids are going to, you know, that's one of the things that we have with integration, that our kids do meet people of different cultures, and Cupid's arrow doesn't know color. So I could see how they have it, but that obviously has caused some type of friction within your family. Why is that a problem for you?
I don't think that we really had a problem with her liking one or the other. Her type of boys were from the gangs. They were not working, they were drinking all the time, partying, they were destructive. We had our house robbed a couple of times. She's had things stolen constantly.
That time when they stole things from my house, I think in sixth grade, 7th grade, I was kind of associating with gang members. I stopped about the middle of 7th grade, then I started going with taggers, graffiti people. So.
Graffiti people?
Yeah, well that's how I'm to call them. So.
Let me ask you this, because a lot of folks will say, and Vicki, I'm going to play hardball here. A lot of folks will say, 12 years old. How in the world did you how did you lose control of a 12-year-old?
It was overnight. She was a very loving, sensitive girl.
It happens, folks.
It does happen.
It happens.
Yes, it does.
Vicki, to the folks back there in the corner going, it doesn't happen.
Yes,
she's 12
it
years
does.
old. You should have your thumb on her like this. What do you say to them?
I did have a thumb constantly. I was a very overbearing parent. I constantly kept watch on everything she was doing, controlled the shows she watched and things like that. I would cover her eyes if there was something on. She was loving. She loved me. She took me everywhere to school and everything. Then, I'm not kidding, it was one day she didn't want me to touch her. I was not to tell her I loved her anymore. She didn't want to hear it. She said, I'm tired of being a nerd, and I'm now going to find a life. So she just went out to find a life.
When we come back, we'll talk a bit more about this, and I'd also like to know, Nicole, if you say that you've changed and matured so much, what you would say to Tiffany to help her as she develops and matures. Also, when we come back, this 5-year-old angel beats up her brother, calls 911 just to get mama in trouble. What can you do with a child like this? Maybe she's sweet underneath all that. We'll find out in just a minute.